And what's on McDonald's too? Like
I saw a baddie working at Chipotle the other day. Not gonna lie.
Come on. I bet she's.
I would date a baddie. Anyways, that's besides the point.
But that's a good point too that you're making about as men, like we're cool with that. We're cool with that. If you work at a fast food restaurant, but you're 18 to 20 years old, we're cool with that. Like girls wouldn't give the time of day to a guy that's working at Chipotle.
Over 18, 20, you're not cool with that.
No. But what I'm saying is that can be way more attractive than a girl that's in her 30s
like
and has
an attorney.
And who's an attorney, and girls don't seem to wrap their heads
That's
around
not
that.
hot, like a girl that's 30 in her.
No, it's not. It's not as hot.
A woman's career.
I don't want to
That
date a
girl seems
high-powered attorney.
badass to me,
Well,
so.
okay, so a woman's career, a woman's ambition, a woman's money, it doesn't make you more attractive.
Yeah.
Whereas like a man who's hyper successful, ambitious, he's a doctor, he has a prestigious career, he's an attorney, for example, or he's say a musician or whatever it may be. I think a lot of women would say, oh, a guy who's a doctor is a real catch. But men, we don't really, I guess it's a kind of okay bonus, like if you're making your own money, but like in some ways it can actually be
You don't think
a
a woman
detractor.
who's a doctor is attractive?
She can be, the thing is that women don't share their resources the same way with men, the same way that men share their resources with women.
Yep.
So
Also, a female doctor, if a woman's a doctor, if she's not a doctor, she's busy, it's also not going to make her any more or less attractive to me. I mean, I would honestly prefer a wife who isn't super tied up in a stressful career. That's the last thing I want for my wife.
Okay. Do you guys prefer or are okay with like the stay-at-home mom idea,
I want
or are
that.
you like? Are
That's
you
a
guys
great
okay
thing.
with
I
that, or are
want
you
that.
like
We love that.
offended by
optimal.
it
No,
because you think it's
not
like
at
a
all.
freeloader
The
vibe
opposite
or-
of that.
No,
we want that.
No, Tara, it's literally my goal to make enough money so that I can have my wife stop working, take care of our home, take care of our kids, and be a good partner to me. That's literally my goal. Like, that's like the most ideal thing.
I'm not even saying there's anything bad about that. Like, that's totally your preference.
I may be different.
Well, no, it's not. You also said earlier in the conversation you want a guy who's going to take good care of you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's totally your preference. I'm saying there's nothing bad about.
Isn't it your preference too?
What do you mean? Oh.
Don't you want that? You said you want a guy who takes good care of you.
I want us to be equals.
Don't you want to be that?
I want to be equals.
Do you agree with that?
So you would like prefer to work just as much as your husband, as opposed to not working, so you could be equal.
Yeah, I really like. That's never. I feel like been a big thing for me. Like.
Well,
having
okay, so you have two options.
One person work more than the other.
But you have two options. You have a guy who makes so much money that you would not have to work, or a guy who's got a job, a decent job, probably around the same as you, but you both have to work to provide for your family.
I think as long as I love him and like.
But okay, which of the two would you prefer?
I don't have a preference.
You don't.
You introduce kids into the equation, you'll definitely have a preference.
There's a lot more to consider. Than
I mean,
just
maybe there's
that.
things you want to achieve career-wise. I think that's fine, but probably there's guys out there too that if a girl came along and was like, you can be a stay-at-home dad, and it wouldn't introduce. The thing is, most women are not going to be attracted to that guy. That's a different discussion, but.
I know I've heard of people where it's like the woman is a doctor and the guy just literally stays at home.
That's rare.
No,
most women.
I would feel so emasculated in a situation like that.
Yeah, exactly. That's your preference.
My wife wears the pants. She also pegs me when she gets home from work. That's like how I imagine that.
But yeah, anyway, so that does exist.
It exists, but it's not
super rare.
It's rare, and when it does exist, those are usually the relationships that don't work out well. The woman is going to be for sure controlling in that relationship.
Yeah. Just quickly on this note, a guy who's a doctor would probably gladly date a woman who's a barista, but who's attractive and meets his certain metrics.
But I'm sure that guy will be controlling.
Not necessarily,
That's such an assumption.
but let me just finish the point. But a woman who's a doctor, while yes, there are some outliers, they might date a guy who's a barista. Most women who are doctors, most women who are, say, attorneys, very successful, hyper successful women, they're going to want to date a guy who's at least on their level or higher. So
yeah, and that's what the studies show. Girls, the more money you make as a woman, the harder it is for you to find a life partner, because girls always need they strongly prefer someone who makes at least as much as them, if not higher.
Yes. So as a woman becomes more successful, the more money she makes, her actual pool of potential partners
Gets
shrinks.
smaller, not bigger.
Whereas men, as they become more successful, their pool widens and widens and widens. So, yeah.
I have a question.
Sure.
So, do you guys believe in relationship roles? Do you
Absolutely.
think that each gender plays a role in the relationship, and what is that role?
You want to take that?
Really quick, we will answer that.
Yeah.
Let me just get through these last couple super chats here really quick, and then